Welcome to Threadworks.com. My name is Heidi, and today we are going to talk about how to be confident to thread any sewing machine. So if you've ever gone to a class, a retreat, I teach on cruises where people get their sewing on machines that are not their own, and it can be very intimidating to approach a sewing machine and not know how to thread it. As a teacher, I'm out on the road and I'm around a ton of different brands of machines, and over the years I've learned that it is fairly easy to thread any sewing machine if you just know a few things. One is knowing where the thread, if it needs a thread cap or not, and the size of the thread cap to go on. You never want the thread cap bigger than your spool of thread because it can get caught on there. So make sure when you sit down at the machine that you're using the right cap for the spool. And then all of the machines thread fairly similarly, but they all kind of come up with a different path on how to get it to the needle. So one of the beautiful things about sewing machines is that they've always embossed the directions right on top of the machine. And in Janome's case, they're even numbered. And you always know you need to go under an arm, and you know you need to go through. So this is 1, 2 is following this design here, 3 is coming down and around. Every sewing machine, you need to make sure you're putting it in the tension discs. We know we need to get it through here. We know there's going to be tension discs. If you know the general path on all machines, it's much easier to sit down and thread a machine that you've never used before. Then you get down into the needle part of the machine. And in the needle part, this can be a little bit different because there's all these little hooks and metal and everything's kind of floating around down there. And so what you want to do is there's usually a hook in the front, which is bringing the thread from the front of the machine into this area. It may look different on different machines, but there's usually a hook there. And then the other thing is a lot of the machines will have this hook right in front of the needle. So you want to hook it into the hook. You want to put the thread behind this little hook. And in Janome's case, there's actually a hole right over here that you pop it over. So you always want to look at how is this made? Is it just one straight hook? Is it a straight hook and an opening? And that usually will tell you if you need to pull it further over. Then you can just go ahead and thread the needle if you'd like, or you can live dangerously and use the threaders. Threaders are different on every single machine. When I sit down at a foreign machine that I don't know how to use the threader, I will tend to just thread the needle without it. But it is always good practice to try to use the threaders when you're going to be using the machine for a long period of time. Now in this case, there's still numbers and there's still arrows. So once I have it in here, I put it between the 7 and the black, and then I bring it around to the cutter. You also need to make sure that the needle is in the upright position. If you have an automatic needle up, needle down, it's always a good practice to go needle up and needle down. Now I know it's in where the factory wants it to be, and then I can just thread the needle. If you sit down and you're trying to do something and it's just not hitting the needle, more often than not, you just need to take that needle up, needle down, and get it into the factory position. And then you're ready to sew. Same thing for bobbins. You're always going to want to look at the bobbin case. This little door here tells you exactly how to drop that bobbin in and where to put the thread. This is a top loader, so it's going to be like the letter P. So this is the top of the P, that's the thread. Drop it in, and you just follow the numbers, 1, 2. When you have a front loader, it's important to know if it goes clockwise or counterclockwise, and there's usually a note on the bobbin to show you which way to go. And then we just pop that back in. We're going to bring in a second sewing machine. I'm going to thread that one as well. But just have some confidence when you do this. They give you a roadmap up here, and they give you a roadmap all the way through to even how to use the threader. Machines, no matter how high end or low end they are, they've always been marked for me. But it does kind of take away a little of the anxiety if you do tend to go places and use machines that are not your own. Very easy to thread, and I hope that that helps you. So we're going to bring in a second machine and show you how to thread that guy. So now we've brought in the Janome Skyline S6. It is a very similar way to thread, but different. So you want to, again, look at your roadmap, understand how you're going to thread it. And also what I didn't talk about on the other machine, but will on this one, is the roadmap on how to thread a bobbin is different than how you thread the machine. So you may get a little confused if you see directions going this way and this way. But like here, there's a little picture of a bobbin. So I know if I want to thread a bobbin, I need to come in here, go around that hook, and come out and over here. But today we're going to thread the machine. And again, we're going to do the same thing we did before. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Again, we're going to come up and around to catch our tension discs in that hook. Every machine has this hook, and you want to make sure your thread is catching that hook. And then once you've got that, then we're going to go under the hook in the front that brings the thread into the needle area. We're going to do needle down, needle up. That puts the needle into the factory setting position for threading. We use the hook on the front of the needle. Again, this is a double hook. It's a hook with 2 holes. That tells me I need to pull it to the left. If it's just a straight hook with no holes up there, you just need to get it behind the hook. So different models have different hooks there. And then number 7, we're going to go between the black and the gray. And then we're going to go up into the thread cutter. I like to go from the thread cutter from back to front because it holds my thread in position for the threader. And then in this one, we're just going to push down and thread. And again, if it's a new machine and you're already just learning how to thread it and that is intimidating to use a thread cutter, you can just thread it right through. So now we've got that one threaded as well. Front loading bobbin cases are all threaded the same as our top loaders. So once you've done one, always just look for the picture to see if the bobbin direction needs to be turned around. But for these guys, it's always a P with the bobbin at the top and the thread hanging down. So I hope that takes care of any questions or alleviates any fears if you're about to go on a retreat or on a sewing trip and you have to use someone else's machine. If you use the common knowledge of how these guys are always threaded and you look for the notes on the machine, you should be all set and ready to go. So as always, I want to thank you for watching threadworks.com, and we'll see you in the next one.